Hey everyone, I'm back with another movie review. Hold on a second. Can't find it. Okay, well, as you can obviously tell from the title, it's Spider-Man 2. Now, I'm actually recording this video on July 6th. Alright, so, and I have not yet actually seen the Amazing Spider-Man movie, which is good because I've been lazy with recording these Spider-Man reviews. So yeah, now, Spider-Man 2 was released in the year 2004. It was once again directed by Sam Raimi. The producers were Avi Arad and Laura Ziskin. The co-producer was, I believe it was Kyle Cooper, don't quote me on that. Yeah, I'm a nerd like this. And it starred, once again, Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man. And Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane Watson, and William Dafoe as Norman Osborn in the couple of, like, one or two visions that Harry has of him. Speaking of Harry, it also once again stars James Franco as Harry Osborn as he slowly delves into insanity. And it once again stars J.K. Simmons as Daily Bugle douchebags. Man, my mind's wrecked right now. I really don't remember what his name is, even despite the hardcore Spider-Man fanboy that I actually am. J.K. Simmons is J.K. Simmons. Whatever. And the biggest new actor is Alfred Molina, who plays Dr. Octopus, which surprisingly, this is the only actor in the entire Spider-Man trilogy that I have never heard a single complaint for. I guess everybody just really loves who they chose for Doc Ock. I can't really blame them. I mean, his acting was incredible in this movie, and his, and the tentacles just looked so real. And actually, if you do one of the designer commentaries or developer commentaries or whatever for the movie while you're watching it, it's not the director, I believe it's the effects people or whatever, they'll actually say that it was a magician's trick by one of the creators, and he swore to never, or that he made them swear they never tell how it's done, you know, magicians and whatnot. So yeah, it's kind of interesting there. But also, I believe I mentioned, if I didn't in my Spider-Man 1 review, I'm mentioning right now, Green Goblin kind of scared me quite a bit. This is even though Spider-Man is meant for kids, these movies definitely aren't meant for kids. They're probably aimed more towards teenagers, even though I saw them when I was a kid. They're probably aimed more towards teenagers who love Spider-Man. Teenagers and adults who love Spider-Man, because, you know, the Spider-Man comics came out started in the 50s and ran till like the 80s or 90s, I think. So naturally, the kids who read the comics in the 50s will be adults by now. And, you know, so they're going to be probably the ones who will love Spider-Man the most, since the comics came out when they were kids. You know, so I'm guessing that the movies were generally aimed towards them, because there's some pretty freaky moments in this entire series, especially Doc Ock. And when you see Rosie's death, his wife, during his demonstration, that actually scared me the most out of, like, anything in this movie. Another really scary moment is when Harry's in his mansion in Oscorp. And I don't know if it's his mansion or if it's the Oscorp building. I'm guessing it's the Oscorp building because his Well, I don't know. But one or the other, and Doc Ock sneaks up on Harry like that. That actually made me jump. It doesn't nowadays because I've seen the movie so much and just rewatched it just before I made this review actually yesterday, whatever. That it actually doesn't scare me anymore because I expect it. But when I watched this in theaters on opening day, it scared me. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, and my favorite part about the movie probably is the ending, where instead of the norm where Spider-Man would kill Doc Ock and everything's hunky-dory, Dr. Octopus actually ends up coming to his senses, controlling his tentacles, and actually takes down his fusion reactor by himself, because I highly doubt that Peter could have, or that Spider-Man could have done that, drowned it in the water and whatnot. Yeah, and this is my favorite of the Spider-Man movies. Don't get me wrong, I really loved all three of them, but this is my favorite of them. Alright, and some things are kind of off about it, such as I would kind of wish the Black Cat was in this movie. And the reason I say so is because if you read the director commentary, who's with like Peter and whatnot, or I mean Tobey Maguire and whatnot as well, then it actually mentions that that in the original script they actually had Black Cat, and it puzzles me why they took that out, because that would have been a pretty interesting love triangle between Mary Jane and Peter and Black Cat, because in the comics Peter did have a romantic relationship briefly with Black Cat, if I remember correctly. Of course, Mary Jane's the one that stuck, but he had several, okay? I mean, the Close Comics ran for a very long time. So it's kind of disappointing to me that she was taken out. That's definitely my biggest complaint as well. And next, well, can't really think of any other complaints that I have of this movie. It's just almost everything was just done right. Okay? It's incredible and everything. So I'm going to do something I don't do very often. I'm going to give this movie a 10 out of 10. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to do this very often. Now, I don't think... Now, you might think that by giving it a 10, I'm being a hypocrite, because that'd be me saying that the movie's perfect. But no movie is perfect, okay? Every movie has flaws if you can look, if you look hard enough. And that's what I do, alright? I am a critic. So I purposely attempt to look for flaws in these types of things, okay? That's what I do. I'm a critic. So, yeah. In fact, I could probably find a whole bunch of other nitpicky things about it, like, oh, I don't know, I wish there were more fight scenes between, I wish the movie was like a half an hour longer so they could have had a bit longer of a final fight. I mean, the final fight just seemed kind of short to me. I don't know why. I mean, there were really cool fights, such as the fight on the side of the building with Doc Ock. Incredible. It was so intense. And the final fight was pretty intense, I'll admit. I just think it could have been quite a bit longer. Alright, so... yeah, but I'm still giving it a 10 out of 10, because despite its flaws, this is my favorite movie ever. I'm not saying that's perfect, because there's no such thing as perfection when you're talking about something like this. At least in my opinion, there's not. this is just, in my opinion, the closest thing you could come to perfection, and it's my favorite movie ever. It has been since I first watched it in theater. The opening day back in July 2nd, 2004, with my friends, and it still is, okay? And it definitely gets rid of the stereotype that Spider-Man is just for children, because there's some freaky fucking shit in this movie. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Don't expect this too often. I mean, it's my favorite movie ever. What do you expect? So, see you after, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.